Good morning, love. I had to learn you never come alone. And when I shut out hurting, something in me turns to stone. To be in touch with tenderness, I bear my blood and bone. And I'm so glad to have you back again. Good morning, pain. Good morning, joy. Good morning, love. Who's ready to do some work? All kinds of people. So let's start over on my left and we'll work around. You got one? Come on up here.
I'm going to need your help.
No, you got 40 giraffe supporters out there. But there's 3 jackals hidden in the crowd, so watch that you don't. Okay. What is this person? Did you start with what this person says? That's a challenging thing to hear.
Yeah.
What did this person say?
This person said, this has nothing to do with me. Speak to your father. And this is my father's partner, not my mother.
This has nothing to do with me. Speak to your father.
Yeah, this is a woman I'd like to non-violently kill.
Well, now, if you know that, would somebody else like to do this role play? If you know already that you have that kind of anger toward a person, then we wouldn't even approach them until you first had gotten rid of all enemy images of the person. The kind of thinking, in other words, that makes you angry. While you still have that, you will create in that person the very thing that you're concerned about.
I think that's true. And so should I pick a different person, or should I work on that?
No, this is the perfect person
Okay.
to work on.
Okay.
Because our most ugly, aggravating jackal is our best guru. So we stand more to benefit, more to learn from those people whose beauty we cannot see than anybody else. They're our best teachers. So let's go to work, first of all, on anger. Let's see how to deal with anger. And we'll give everybody a chance to practice this, okay? So all of you, think of somebody at the moment who's behaving in a way that stimulates you in the way that she is stimulated by this person. You have nice aggressive fantasies toward that. You see. And for those of you who have never been angry, you can't even imagine getting that angry, so that you can participate in this exercise, I'm going to give you the telephone number of my brother. Call him up, and within 5 minutes, you will be angry. Okay? Anybody need his number? I tease him about this all the time. I said, you know, you're famous all over the world. So if you get some strange calls, you'll know that people are wanting to get angry. Okay, write the stimulus for your anger down. What did this person say or do that was a stimulus for your anger? And while they're writing that down, what is this person's stimulus? What has this person done that was a stimulus for your anger? No, we're going to start with you. What was this person's stimulus?
I haven't been allowed to see my father.
Yes, that's a diagnosis. I ask for a stimulus. That's the cause of your anger, that you interpret it that way. That she's not allowing you to see your father, and that's not right, and she has no right to keep you from him, and so forth. We're going to get to that next. That's the cause of your anger. What's the stimulus? What did she say?
She said, she pretty much said what I said. She said, this has nothing to do with me. Speak to your father.
Okay. And that's the
She won't let me talk to her about it.
No, won't let me, that's a diagnosis. So she has said, this has nothing to do with me, talk to your father. That's the stimulus, you see. So let's hear some other stimuli for the anger. What else have you written down?
You need to be criticized.
The person said, you need to be criticized. That's what
I'm leaving and it's your fault.
I'm leaving and it's your fault. Yes. You never, da 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 da. And if you're a jackal, you'll remember one time 12 years ago you did. Just to prove that never is not accurate.
You always.
Same thing. But they said that, you always. Okay.
You're always angry.
You're always angry.
You're not listening.
You're not listening. Yes.
Talk when I'm trying to talk.
They talk when you're trying to talk. All of the things that you just said the other person can say can't make us angry. It just doesn't have the power to do that. Okay. So now I want you to write down the cause of the anger this way. When the person does this, I feel angry because. What is the cause of your anger? And let's have you answer the same thing. When this person says, this has nothing to do with me, you have to speak to your father. When this person says this, you feel angry because why?
I feel powerless, and I feel cut off from my father.
Not feel cut off. First, it's not your feeling of powerless that makes you angry. That's a separate feeling. You also feel powerless, you feel angry. But you interpret this person as cutting you off. So you have a violent image of this person. All the person said is, this has nothing to do with me. But you interpreted this as this person is cutting you off from your father. And that's what makes you angry. It's not this person. Yeah, I'm just doing my work. Yeah, so.
You want to know more?
No, that answered my question. I just want you to be conscious that this person isn't making you angry. It's that thought that makes you angry, that they are cutting you off from your father. Because I will bet you that that is associated in your thinking with the violent word, the violent SH word. I hate to say it out loud. They shouldn't cut you off from you. Don't you? Do you believe that they shouldn't do that to you?
Absolutely.
Oh. See, it's the SH word that makes us angry. See, if we didn't have the SH word in our consciousness, we wouldn't have so much violence. But the SH word, that's why I don't like to say it out loud, see, because I think it creates great violence on our planet, the SH word. Because it's basically, in a sense, it's a handy abbreviation. Because the SH word basically means the other person is bad and deserving of punishment. See, it's all contained in that SH word. It's just an abbreviation since we use it so much and we have so much violence that we want to blame and so it's kind of an abbreviation. We don't even have to say it, it's implicit, you see. It goes with cutting me off from the family. And anybody will tell you, you shouldn't do that to a daughter. You shouldn't cut a daughter off from the father. Yes, what makes you angry when people talk when you're talking? What's the cause of your anger?
That they should give me a fair chance.
Yes, you have a double jackal in there. First of all, you're interpreting them as not being fair, not giving you a fair chance. And the double jackal is, they shouldn't do that.
The reason I raised my hand a second ago, if somebody says to you, you know, you should do da da da, if you want to empathize with them, do you ask them, do you think I should?
No, I don't. Remember what I said? Never hear what a jackal thinks, especially never hear the should word. No, don't hear it. Don't go there. Life isn't fun when we join the person in their thinking. Go to their heart. There's no should in the heart. Of all the things never to hear coming from another person, it's you should. Especially someone in authority. I hope everybody in here has already got your children convinced of that. You tell your children, never hear what I say you should do. You've all told your children that, I'm sure. Yeah. Yes.
If I say that I need equality and financial support for our son, doesn't that imply a should?
No.
No?
No.
Maybe it's what I want to.
I think what you're saying is it's hard for you not to have that should in there because you have all kinds of thoughts about this rascal, such as what? What do you think about me for not giving you that support? In addition, that I should. What do you think about me that makes you so angry?
You're irresponsible.
Yes, yes,
You're selfish.
yes. She doesn't need help at this level. She was doing quite all right without your help.
He's buying the land and he should be.
What else? Anything else?
Shirking his duties.
Shirking his duties.
Neglecting his son.
Neglecting his son. And he's still alive? You haven't killed him yet with all of that going on inside? Man, you have good anger control. I've beaten people for less. Okay? Yeah, any one of those words, you see. But, you know, the problem is you pay for those words. Every time you think that, you pay for it. If you want to read what I say, read about type A thinking and the effect that it has on heart disease. Type A thinking is in the technical research in medicine, basically what I call jackal thinking. You know, irresponsible, shirking, this kind of thinking that makes us angry. High correlation. The more people think this way, the more the more heart disease. Because it's not only destructive to our spirit, it's also very destructive to our bodies. Because these are not natural feelings, you see. I'll show you what I mean by natural feelings. See, as in Daniel Goleman's book, Emotional Intelligence, when a need isn't getting met, it gives off energy, which we call feelings. The feelings tell us the need isn't getting met. They mobilize us for action, to get something done. So this wonderful energy gets channeled into need-serving action. See? So a dog gets hungry, and it doesn't just sit there and say, oh, wonderful, I'm hungry, you know. It starts to act for the purpose of getting some food. Any living phenomenon, this happens. The need, when it's not being met, needs an energy source, which is the feelings. But we human beings have had this trick played on us that I told you about earlier today. So the need isn't getting met, but we don't have a need consciousness. We've been educated not to be in touch with our needs, so we go to enemy images. He should. He's irresponsible. That's selfish. Shirking duties. We've had our head filled with thousands of these, you see. And when our head was filled this way, we are going to feel one of four feelings: depression, guilt, and shame, if we direct the judgment to ourselves. If I think I was irresponsible, I feel guilt, shame. If I think I'm a failure, depression. See? But if we direct it outward, anger. But notice what's happened. We're cut off from life. We're not really alive. We're not in touch with life. And then, what kind of energy does this give us? Punitive actions, not need-serving actions. We want to blame and punish this rascal. Yeah, there's a need down there and it isn't getting met, but we've lost connection with that. When we're up in our head judging the other person, all we want is to see that person suffer. Especially if we have the other dangerous word in our head along with the SH word, you see. So much of our violence comes from the SH word and the DE word. Deserve, yes. Deserve. All you got to do is think somebody deserves something, and oh, you're violent. Think that because somebody does something, they deserve to be rewarded. Think that because somebody does something, they deserve to suffer. They deserve to be punished. Very dangerous word. And put those two together. He's doing what he shouldn't. He deserves to. Okay, yes.
How does that fit with rewards?
Rewards are violent.
Violence?
Oh, yes.
Does that make a person feel obligated?
Because they are a part of power over. They're one person trying to use the power that they have over another person. See, so I have some money and you don't have. So I say, okay, if you do this, I'll give you the money. You need to eat. I say, I'm not going to give, unless you do this, I'm not going to give it to you. So that's a way of using power over people. If you want to see the violence of rewards, go into that a little bit more. Read Alfie Kohn's book. Alfie Kohn. Punished by Rewards. If you want to see how violent the DE word is, the deserve word, you see. Read Walter Kaufmann. Without Guilt and Justice. He's a philosophy professor, was a philosophy professor at Princeton. First half of the book, he just says from a philosophical point of view, just in terms of pure logic, pure rational, clear thinking, the DE word, deserve, violates every principle of clear thinking. To think that anybody deserves anything, he shows in the first half of his book, violates every principle of clear thinking. Then in the last half of the book, he shows then that it's no secret that our judicial system, our correctional system, is suicidal. Because it's based on a totally irrational concept that people deserve to suffer for what they've done. So even though our own judicial system, our own statistics show that people are more violent when they get out of our prisons than when they go in, we never learn about this. It's hard to see that anytime you use punishment, it never works. Not if you're conscious at two levels. If you ask yourself two questions, you will see that punishment cannot work. Question number one, what do we want the other person to do? If you ask only that question, it tricks you into thinking that punishment sometimes works. Because sometimes through the use of punishment, you can get somebody to do something. But ask the second question and you see it never works. Second question, what do we want the other person's reasons to be for doing what we want them to do? Ask those two questions, no more punishment. Same with reward. Yeah.
How about setting boundaries for children?
Let's set boundaries. It's very important, but not for children, for any human being. Any human being who is violating a need of yours and is unwilling to negotiate about it, tell them what you are going to do and do it. Use protective use of force. But do that with everybody. Don't think that's just with children. We all need clarity. If a basic need of yours isn't getting met in your relationship with me and I'm not willing to talk about it, tell me what you're going to do to protect yourself and do it. But don't use any punishment. Don't get that mixed up with punishment. No, children do not need punishment. And children do not need boundaries. All human beings need boundaries in the way that I'm describing it.
What about a privilege that is given within that boundary?
What do you mean by a privilege?
Um,
A reward?
The use of a vehicle
Yes.
when following certain boundaries that I have.
So you have a car, and if anybody's going to use your car, you would like them to agree to drive it without drinking any alcohol.
Or using drugs.
boy, you're a hard mother to live with. Okay, then I would say that at the next time I see you using any drugs while you're driving, I will no longer give you my car. I'm not
So
trying.
that's not punishment.
It depends. If you think they're wrong and you want to make that rascal suffer, yes. If you have in your thinking that they were wrong and you're trying to punish them, but it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like you would like to protect some property of yours, and
Well, mostly him.
or to protect him. You see, or to protect him. So if that's your only intention, you're not intending to make him suffer, I would say it's a protective use of force, not the punitive. The other person may see it as punitive. That's another issue. If persons only know punishment, of course they're gonna have trouble making this differentiation. The main thing is that we see the difference. That we make sure we never take any action that's intending to make another person suffer. Whenever that's our intention, we're going to create more violence on this planet, which is not what we need on this planet. Yes?
Is it the same general concept for rewards? I mean, a person gets paid, you get paid for a book. Like, I mean,
I hope I don't.
is that
I hope I don't. I hope you don't give me that money as a payment. I hope you give it to me to nurture what I am doing. I hope you see that money as a gift. I hope you don't see it as payment. I wish we had the time to go through that every time somebody gets a book. The only thing is, it usually takes me an hour to make this clear to people, so I don't know how I can get that hour with everybody who wants to. I don't want anybody to buy my book. I want them to have it. I wouldn't have written it if I didn't want them to have it. I hope people would realize that for me to have time to write things like books and to do the other work that I do, it would help me to give me some money. So I hope you didn't pay money for the book. I hope you gave me money for the book. How will you know the difference? You will have enjoyed it if you gave me the money. If you didn't, you won't enjoy giving it. So that's why I never tried to give money if it's a payment. I try only to give money when it's a gift. Yes? How about grades? The only purpose I see in grades is to maintain a caste system in our society and to hide it as a meritocracy or a democracy. Now, when I was at the university, I had a little trouble with this with the registrar. I still remember the 6-week mark when I was teaching at a university in St. Louis. Registrar comes to my office. Dr. Rosenberg, your grades have not been handed in. I said, you're very perceptive. Registrar did not like my humor. She repeats herself. Your grades have not been handed in. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Why? I'm choosing not to give grades. But you have to. Bureaucratic language, you have to. Isn't this foolish? She's telling me I have to. I haven't done it. Obviously, I don't have to, right? Can you hear anything crazier than that? A person telling me so. You have to. I said, I'm choosing not to give grades. Why? It's against my spiritual beliefs. Why? I said, half the students at this university are black, half are white. Blacks get 80% of failing grades. I choose not to participate in any evaluation scheme that differentiates on the basis of race or culture. Also, research shows that the more grades are given, the more students lose perspective on the worth of what they're learning. So then they learn not for the value of what they're learning, but for the extrinsic rewards, which of course is what is the purpose in a jackal culture. You want people to get used to working for extrinsic rewards, things like salaries, so they'll be able to pollute the environment or do anything else as long as their boss tells them to do it. And they get their reward, so that's what you want to train them for in schools. Well, this one, I said, the one area that they said, but we have to have accountability. I said, now that, I share the university's desire at that level. We do need to know whether people have learned what, the course involves. I said, I will give you at the end of the course of instruction a measurable assessment of what students could do at the end that they couldn't do at the beginning. In this respect, I'm far more accountable than a teacher who gives you a C or a D. You don't know what that student can do. You will know what each of my students can do at the end that they couldn't do at the beginning. So because of that, I was being more accountable, so they didn't fire me for that. They fired me because they didn't like my friends. I was working with street gangs at the time, and this was a college. We were preparing teachers to work in the inner city. I had some members of the gang come into my class and educate the students. The students evaluated this session, incidentally, as very valuable, that they really learned a lot about why kids in the inner city weren't learning. But the university had a rule that said that these people weren't qualified to be brought in as guest lecturers. So it was on that basis that... that was not a problem. I wasn't expecting to stay around very long. The administrator that got me in there asked me to come in and kick ass a little and stir things up, and so.
And then go.
Well, he knew I wasn't going to last long, and I didn't really want to teach long. I just wanted to get some things started. Okay, so now anybody else want to read off what the cause of your anger is? I hope everybody sees that the cause of our anger is always the same. It's that we are playing a game called punitive God. See, that's the cause of anger. See, when we go up to our head and judge the other person as irresponsible, selfish, stupid, this is a game that's been played for several centuries, you see, where somebody thinks they know what's right, and they know what's wrong, and that they know who deserves to suffer. So I call that game punitive God. So we are playing the game punitive God when we are angry. Yes?
It seems like there's kind of a toggle switch between anger and hurt. And that when someone says to me, you need to be criticized, I feel angry and it feels like there's a toggle switch between anger and hurt. So if someone says you need to be criticized, I feel hurt and I feel angry. It's not just one feeling, and I'm curious what you'd say about that.
Because if for any moment you get connected to the need, then you feel hurt. But then if the next moment you then go back up to the jackal judgment and start to judge the other person. So that means your attention is split. Part of you is connected to your need, and the hurt is because you have a need for more respect or something like that. That might be the need, it's at the bottom of it. But the anger tells you that your full attention is not on the need.
So you can never be feeling anger and still be needing, if you're feeling anger, you would say your thinking is always divorced from needing respect?
There's always a part of your consciousness that is not on the need. It is up in your head playing the game punitive God. When our full attention is on our needs, it's impossible to be angry. No matter what the person is doing to you, you cannot be angry if your full attention is on either your need or the other person's need. Yes?
I do support groups with cancer patients and their families, and sometimes they tell me that anger and for cancer helps mobilize their resources for fighting it.
I hear the same thing about almost every country I work in which people are afraid that if they don't get angry, they're going to be passive and not deal with the oppression they're dealing with. So the problem is, yes, we do, if we have a need for health, we need to mobilize ourselves and have our full energy going into mobilizing that. But I think we'll have more energy if we get connected to what our need is and not have part of it distracted, because I think the energy that comes from anger is not really a fully life-serving energy. But if you compare it to nothing, see, this is what people are afraid of. If I don't get angry, I'm just going to be passive. But if your full attention is here, you'll have plenty of energy, but it won't be angry. But I think it'll be more healthy. Yeah.
I wrote down that when the person says their jackal thing to me, when she says that I feel angry because I have a need to be appreciated and respected,
Yeah.
and I guess I'm having a little difficulty. I see
I
where
don't think you get angry because your need for appreciation and respect isn't getting met. For example, if I come along and I say to you, "Get out of my way, idiot," and for whatever reason you think maybe his wife died and he's in mourning, I don't think you'd feel angry. Even though your need wasn't getting met for respect and so forth, it wasn't getting met, but I don't think you'd be angry, because you would probably tell yourself something different than what you're telling yourself if you're angry. So you still haven't answered my question of the cause of your anger. Just because your need for respect doesn't get met doesn't make you angry.
I think what my experience is that I have anger is the first thing that comes into my awareness.
Yes.
And then if I look at it more closely, there's hurt underneath it and fear.
Yes.
But it's like they both or all three or maybe others coexist at the same time.
I think they
anger
do.
is the one that's the first clue. It's kind of like pain.
But the first thing that I agree with you, it's usually the first thing we're aware of, but it's not the first thing that happens. The first thing that happens is what I'm asking you to get at now, which you haven't gotten at yet. And that's why I'm pushing you to get at it, because it needs to be gotten out into the light. And that is, I think you need to be clear what is making you angry. It's not that your need isn't getting met. What are you telling yourself?
Yeah, some jackal thoughts.
Yeah.
But
That's the first thing that came. But your inner jackal speaks so rapidly,
right,
and it's been in there so long that very often you're not conscious of it.
right. But I'm wondering if it can, for some reason, I want to make the distinction between like depression, guilt, and shame, which seem like they're like really unproductive or counterproductive roads to go down, whereas anger, even though it's not productive in the sense of
I'm saying all of these are productive, can be productive, if you do the following work. If first you identify the thinking that is making you feel this way.
Okay.
And if you use these feelings as an alarm clock to tell you that part of your connection to your needs is being blocked by life-alienated, violence-provocative thinking. Let me repeat that, you see. These feelings are valuable if you use them as an alarm clock.
I get it. Thank you.
You got it. Okay. And when you use it as an alarm clock and get connected here, you will have more energy, not less. But the energy will be directed toward getting your need met, not to blaming and punishing yourself or others. Yeah.
So getting back just to needs, I would, as far as I can see, I would think that I think as human beings, we want to get more, at least for myself, more pleasant experiences, or the kind of experiences I want, and less unpleasant experiences.
Yes.
And as far down as I can see, that seems to be just very, very core. Do you think that's true? And how does that, I'm just trying to look at really, we keep talking about needs. I'm wondering if there's sort of like these core, deeper, really getting down into what's our real needs.
Well, I like the way you summarized it, and I think if I understood what you're saying, it's not too different than what I hear the Dalai Lama saying, or many other people saying, that our basic need is to enjoy life. And how can we enjoy life if our needs aren't getting met? So to enjoy life is to get our needs met in a way that doesn't create problems for us later. See? Giraffes are cheap. They don't like to pay for getting their needs met.
That's where apart from my situation
Yes.
for the moment.
We're coming back to it in a
I know we are, but I'm still connecting up to what they're saying. I mean, take an oppressed group of people who are hungry every day for years and years and years and die and die and die, and they never get their need met.
Yes.
They never get it met. Why? So they know they're hungry. That's their first basic
They're real hungry.
need.
They're real hungry.
And
If
I don't blame them for being angry about it.
I hope I don't blame them, because then I would be perpetuating the cycle. I hope I don't hear, no one in here hears they're being blamed if they get angry. I'm saying if they get angry, they're less likely to get fed, more likely to get killed. And then when I say that to them, which incidentally I work in a lot of places where I'm working with, just about 2 weeks ago I was working with people from 8 African countries. And the hunger was only one of the things that they saw. They were the biggest issue they wanted to deal with me. What do you do when they're putting your people in concentration camps? That was the. Yes. What do you do when these people? And they had a whole bunch of judgments of these people that were putting the people into. And I said, first thing you need to do is transform all enemy images into needs. You're going to have no power with people until you can translate your enemy images. So, do you think these people are oppressive pigs? Yes! Okay, then we got to work on that. Then we got to work on that. You see, because as long as you see that, you are more likely to generate counter-violence than cooperation. See, so the first step, this was a workshop on social change. These people were not interested in individuals, they were interested in gangs of individuals. Some gangs call themselves gangs. Some gangs call themselves multinational corporations. Some gangs call themselves governments. So they were interested in how do you deal with gangs that you see creating great violence. Okay, the first thing is get rid of any enemy image of the gang members. Because as long as you think there's something wrong with the gang members, you'll create more violence, I predict, than cooperation. See? So we're supposed to like it that they're putting our people in concentration camps and not feeding them? And I'm not asking you to like it. I'm asking you to do more than that. I'm asking you to be able to see that that's the most wonderful thing in the world that these people could be doing. What? Then I explain. You see. And it has to be sincere.
Explain.
That when I work with my colleagues that I work at in Sierra Leone, we're looking at why would this person take a 6-year-old child and hack off the arm, you see. You see? If you think that's evil or bad, I'm suggesting you will create more violence. Good business. So the first thing is to realize, to be conscious that the person who does that does it for the same reason that you and I do everything we do. Is that clear? Each moment, every human being is doing the best they can at that moment to meet their needs. So whatever need they have, I know also that you and I have that same need, because needs are universal. See, so until we can start by trying to empathize with what need is this person meeting by doing this, see, until we can connect with that, as long as we think there's something wrong with this person, that they're bad, we're going to approach it in a way that I think we have less power and more chance to create counter-violence. Now, notice what I just said does not mean I have to like that behavior. It means I have to see the humanness of the person who's doing it. Now, I do not ask these people in Sierra Leone to do this first, not until we've empathized with their feelings about it. You see, I wouldn't want to even think of getting them to empathize with why somebody has cut off the arms of one of their children until they've healed from the pain that that's created for them. So I'm not suggesting that we start with that. But then I'm saying if we really want to change this in a way that doesn't create more violence, we need to get rid of enemy images and connect with what this person's needs are that are being met by cutting off children's arms. Yes.
I find it more useful to think of it in terms of the need that the person is trying to get met, because in my thinking, the need isn't actually getting met by
Yes,
hacking off
I
the
would
arm.
agree with you that may or may not. What is there? What need are they intending to get met by doing this? Yes. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm unfortunately to say, one of the needs that was being met by chopping off the arms of the children did work. It was getting met. A need to get attention and more political power, call attention to their suffering. So the man that's now given a vice president role in Sierra Leone, it was his troops cutting off the arms and get this to stop. They basically rewarded him with a position in the government. So in this sense, it worked. Yes. Now they're going to pay for it. See, they got one need met, but there's other needs that I think they're going to pay for dearly for that. But in this, but other times that we intend it doesn't even meet the need we intended it to meet. Yes.
Okay, so this gets exactly to what I was getting at about needs, that for this person who said had a need for more political power, right, or whatever you just said.
Yes.
Is that really a need?
We have a need for more power. All of us have a need.
Right. So more security, more safety. There's something
more than that. We have a need to manipulate our environment. See, the problem is in our culture, the use of power, the way we try to meet our need for power and to manipulate, sounds exploitive and violent because we're used to a particular form of power usage and manipulation. In fact, we can't survive without power and ability to manipulate. That by itself is just a human need. But how do we meet that need? If we meet it through punishment, reward, that's a whole other issue. But the need itself for power, we all have it.
So, or is it the need for power, or is it just a need to be okay?
No, it's a need for power.
It's a
We
need
need
for
to be
control, is
able
that what you're saying?
to control. Again, control in our culture gets seen as a dirty thing because we're associating it with a certain domination. But our need is we have to have some control, some power with our environment, or this is a pretty scary world if we don't have some power.
Yeah, but do we have any power control, or is it just an illusion anyway?
I think we have enormous power if we speak giraffe, if we are interested in power with people. You see? Enormous power with people. Yes.
In the face of a killing machine, like Hitler's
Yes.
armies, how does one, in listening with giraffe ears, avoid meeting a real immediate death?
So you're up against some people who are using violence to kill people, and you are confronting them. How do you avoid being killed? Is that your question?
What does one person do in the face of a killing army?
Well,
If you don't have a facilitator like Marshal Rosenberg there to make two sides meet, how does one person meet?
well, you could do what the
people?
king of Denmark did when the Nazis said the next day all Jews will come out in the streets with their yellow armbands on. We are going to round them up and ship them off to a concentration camp. So what can one person do? The king of Denmark said, all citizens, please tomorrow wear yellow bands so the Nazis can't tell who is who. That's what one person could do. And the next day, you feel sad for the poor Nazis. They can't tell all their guns and all of their power. They couldn't do anything. Thousands of lives were saved.
You spoke about healing need to take place before empathy can register or kick in. And is that healing as a completed series of stages, or can it just be an initiated process of beginning to heal? Because I would think when one's healing over witnessing that kind of atrocity to one's kid is not going to happen, may not happen in the course of a immediate exchange with somebody.
Well, I've been exploring ways of speeding up that healing, because unfortunately there's so much of it that needs to get done in this world now. I mean, so enormous amount of. So I was trained in healing in the psychoanalytic model, and, taught to think that even minor pains are going to take 2 or 3 years of. I now find that in about an hour I can do more than I was doing in 3 years to heal pain, with much even worse pain than that. How? First of all, by not talking about what happened, you see. All talking about how horrible what these people did, waste of time and energy. If we can maximize getting the person to have some empathy for what's alive in them right now, you see. So I've demonstrated that a little bit today. I've been playing the other person with giraffe ears, you see. You notice that? And I do that in these situations. I play the man who raped this woman and give her empathy now with giraffe ears. I play the role of, in Algeria, the man who took this woman outside and made her watch while my friends dragged her best friend to her death behind a car, and then I took her in the house and raped her in front of her parents. I play the role of that man with giraffe ears, and she gets a chance to express that pain and have it heard by a person in the role of that other person. And I find that I can get the healing taking place in 1 hour that I couldn't get in 3 years of traditional techniques. So there are ways, I'm convinced, that we can speed up the healing. But there does need to be some healing in the form of empathy in there before we ask this person to do other things. Okay, so now we've got your anger clear. You're angry because you got the SH word in your head.
Yes.
And now let's get that out of your head. What's the need that's behind that SH word? See, all judgments that make us angry are tragic, suicidal expressions of needs. So let's use the judgments to hear the need behind it. What's the need that isn't getting met?
I need to have access to my father.
Yes, you really need access, connection with your father. And now when your attention is fully on that, how do you feel?
A lot of sadness.
Yes, yes. See immediately how now she's having life-serving feelings. Tremendous sadness. What was rage a moment ago? Sadness.
The rage is still there too.
Then it's divided, but that's
switching back and forth.
Switching up there. But then if I really want to help her heal, I will keep bringing her back to the need. So you have this real need for the connection with your father and feeling this enormous sadness that need isn't getting met. Because I'll want her to act out of that, because that's much more likely to get her needs met than whatever she does acting out of that anger. Okay.
I've tried everything, Marshall.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Now I'm left with anger and rage.
Yeah. So, well, the one thing I want you to try that I think will have some power, but I don't want you to try it too quick, you see, which is to empathize with this rascal. But I don't want you even to think of empathizing with this rascal until you've had enough empathy for your sadness. You see. Just as I said earlier, I don't want the parents empathizing with the people who cut off the arms of their children before they've had all the empathy that they need. But I really don't think we can resolve things until they can empathize with the other person. I don't think she can heal in this until she can empathize with this rascal that says, it's not up to me, talk to your father. So let's get this empathy from this person. So we'll put some giraffe ears on this person.
I don't believe that, though.
It's hard to even imagine that rascal with giraffe ears.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hard to even imagine it. Yep. So there's this rage toward me because you see me as cutting you off from something valuable, but behind that is this deep need you have for connection with your father and a sadness at not having
that. That's a lot of the rage, and I can't seem to have any effect on that.
And then on top of this is powerless. You feel powerless to, what can you do to get the understanding that you need?
I feel completely powerless to talk to you.
Yeah.
You won't let me talk to you, and my father's terrified of you, and he's collapsed. He's completely collapsed into your control.
Yeah. So you feel powerless to persuade me, and you feel sad because you can't imagine that your father could do anything?
No, he's given up. It's a side thing, but it's even sadder because my father was a conscientious objector during the Second World War, and he was able to stand up to the world, and he can't stand up to you, so you must be one hell of a jackal.
Yeah, it's especially painful when you recall the strength your father had and living in harmony with his values. And now to see him so overwhelmed.
He's so full of shame and guilt about whatever he's full of shame and guilt about. He can't make his needs to you known in a way that your needs are so much bigger, I guess, and you just putting control on him. He's to blame for everything, all your pain. And I'm the daughter he feels closest to, so I'm the one that you've got to punish, I guess. But I'm not this right now. I'm not feeling this nice. I'm still feeling sadness, and I just want to
You got both.
rage.
You're furious. You really want me to see how painful it is to me and to your father. You want me to get my needs met in a way that is not so costly to you and your father.
And this all seems so hypocritical with what you are doing in the world.
Yeah, and especially
You and my father.
you have a need for some integrity. And when you see us saying one thing and working for one thing and behaving this way,
Totally.
it makes even more pain.
More pain. Then I question everything.
What's ridiculous? The ears, the star in my eye, or this ring in my tongue?
The ring, actually.
The ring, actually?
It's really...
Yes, that ring came in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A man before lunch said, Marshall, after lunch, there's such a situation, it's so painful for me, really, I don't even know how to get at it. Could we do it after lunch? I said, what is this? It's so painful. My 14-year-old daughter wants to get a ring in her tongue. Can we deal with that after lunch? I said, okay. So during the lunch break, the jackal said to me, don't you think it would be more realistic if I had a ring in my tongue? I said, Jackal, that's a fine idea. So we went out and found a veterinary who would do this work. And so we got the ring in the jackal's tongue. And after lunch, the man sits down and said, okay, now let's pretend like this is your daughter. Yes. And the jackal says, Dad, what's wrong with a ring in the tongue? And he falls on the floor laughing. It was so serious before lunch. So anyway, after the workshop, I went to take it out, but the jackal wouldn't hear of it. It loves it. So what am I going to do? So yeah, I know it's hard to imagine this person, this woman with a ring in her tongue and the giraffe ears on, and a star in the eye. Can you hear me now, or do you want me to hear more of you?
I want you to hear more.
Can you guess what my need is and what I've done?
I can.
Please do. What is my need?
I'm analyzing her first.
It's okay. Put the analysis out.
I know a little bit.
Yes.
I know a little bit about your, just a tiny bit about your life, and that
Yeah.
you're an alcoholic mother, and your father left you when you were 6, and I think you're pretty pissed off about that, and you've needed my father's name and attention, and you haven't gotten it the way you really, really wanted it. So you've got to control everything around him. That's my analysis.
Well, let me make it clearer for you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm deeply hurt. Deeply hurt that some of my needs have not been met in relationship to your father. And deeply hurt that my pain, I don't feel is understood by you, but I'm judged. I have a fear that instead of getting understood by you, I'm judged by you. And how do you feel when I tell you this?
Yeah, I'm sure that's true, but I feel like you've just transferred all your stuff onto me.
So you really want to be free from responsibility from what I'm saying?
I do.
Yes, and I'm glad, because I'm not wanting to say that you are. I'm really wanting to let you know what's going on in me, which is that I'm deeply hurt, and I'm not wanting to blame you. I'm just wanting you to be honest with me.
Me to be honest with you?
No, I want to be honest with you.
Oh, you want to be honest with me.
Now that I have these giraffe ears on, I'm interested in reconciliation and healing between us. So I'm not blaming you for my hurt or your father for my hurt, but I do need you to know how deeply hurt I feel. I'm willing to take responsibility for it, but I still need empathy for how hurt I feel. I would have liked more understanding from you and more gratitude from your father.
I understand my father turned out to be a disappointment in a lot of ways for you. And somehow I came into that too.
Yes.
Somehow I fit into that.
Yes.
I didn't even know how
until
recently, but
and I hate some of the things I've said to you, like the one you started off tonight quoting. But I am in such pain, in such hurt, that it's all I can do to control myself. How do you feel when I say that?
I get panicky in my stomach, and I wonder if you can't control yourself, does that mean you're still somehow going to make it so that I can't be with my father?
Yeah. So you're really afraid that if my panic is so great, you're still not going to get your need met.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're taking responsibility for it or hearing any blame, I'm not getting the empathy I need. So the last thing I need is for you to take responsibility for it, because then I can't get the empathy.
Okay, well, as long as you're not asking me to take responsibility for it.
Well, I will when I don't have these ears on.
Right.
And that's especially the time when it will be important for you to empathize and not get caught up in that, not to hear what I think. But I'm making it easy on you now. I'm taking responsibility for my pain. All I'm asking for is just connection, just empathy. Later, I am going to blame you a bit for it, just so you can get a chance to try out your new ears. But But we're going at this gradually. You see.
Okay. I can certainly do my best.
So let me say it again, and just, I'm not asking you to take responsibility for it, but just please hear it. Hear it when I say that I am in such agonizing hurt, and mixed all with rage, because when I don't have these ears on, the hurt turns into rage. But that combination of hurt and rage, and let's not get into whether it's caused by my own childhood. Intellectually, that's probably true, but that kind of thinking will get in the way of giving me the full attention I need to what's alive in me now, however it got started. What I need is someone to hear just this excruciating hurt I feel in relationship to your father and to you. So could you tell me that?
Tell you what I understand
Just what
you
I
just
just
said?
said, yes.
I hear that you are in such excruciating pain that that I need to, you hope that I can hear that that's what's in the way of.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a connection with me.
Thank you. And when I really need you to have the same quality of empathy as you're giving me now, is when I'm communicating in those other ways that makes it a real challenge.
Yeah.
I need you to not just intellectually know that, but I need you to be here at those times.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
If I'm capable of doing that, I certainly try.
So let's see if you're capable of doing that.
Are they on right?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't talk to me, talk to your father.
I'm gonna go slow here.
Yes, let's go real slow.
Blank.
Oh.
You don't. You feel. She's feeling. I need to know how she's. I need to know how she's feeling.
Yep. Even if you're stuck, just looking, just
she's
getting
feeling
stuck
angry.
is great. We don't have to guess right. We just have to guess human.
How am I feeling? Somebody's saying. Or
Yes.
she? No, I know. All right. She's feeling angry.
Are you feeling angry?
Are you feeling angry when you say that?
Because you're needing. What's the need behind it?
Because you're needing me to.
You're needing. Leave yourself out of there. What's she needing?
Because you need me to understand.
No, not me. You need understanding.
You
See,
need.
don't mix up the need and the request.
Right.
She may want you to do some things to meet the need. But let's learn how to keep them separate. Just to hear the need separate from the request. So
You
you're
need
needing some understanding.
understanding.
Yes, but I've long since given up the possibility that either you or your father are going to understand.
Give me my formula again.
So
Let's
you're
talk about how
feeling. Are you feeling?
Feeling and then her need.
Yes.
I keep focusing on her feeling and her need.
Yeah.
So you don't feel. No, not I.
So you're feeling.
You feeling hopeless about.
Now you're cooking.
About being understood.
That's right. That's right. And I'm not going to suffer anymore. I've suffered enough with it, with you and your father. So if you want to talk to him, talk to him. But I'm not going to suffer anymore. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to suffer anymore.
You've been in a lot of pain about this for a long
Yes,
time.
I have. Yes, I have.
What kind of pain? Oops.
It's my old therapy training.
Yes, that shifts from empathy to psychoanalytic jackal.
Right.
And in empathy, we're not trying to direct, we're trying to connect with. We're following the other person's energy.
Right.
You don't take them to somewhere else. What kind of pain? No, just connect with what's in them right now.
Right. So is that your, yes, you are?
And I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm not going to take it anymore. I've had enough.
You are tired, sick and tired of not feeling understood.
You're darn right. And being exploited.
You feel taken advantage of.
Don't go there. That's
No.
still a thought. What's the need behind the judgment exploited?
Beyond the judgment. Need beyond the judgment. Yeah. You don't feel respected.
That's right. After all I did for your father, to not only not get the respect that I was deserving, to have happen to me what happens.
Yeah, you never felt seen for what happened to you.
I not only didn't get the respect that I deserved, I got tromped on.
Yeah, you got very, very hurt and very stepped on. And
Now don't use the images.
Yeah, right.
Don't reinforce the images.
got very hurt.
Yes. Your need for respect wasn't met. So you keep coming back to the need. The need that's behind the images. Don't repeat the images, because every repetition of the images just reinforces the jackal thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got very, very hurt and disrespected.
No, that's another image, disrespected. See, that says that your father disrespected. No, your need for respect wasn't met. Let's not get into images of the other person disrespected. Your need for respect wasn't met.
Your need for respect was not met.
That's right. Now you've done a lot of work there. You've done a lot of work. I ask a lot of people, how many times in your life, if you've been in pain, can you remember having someone hear your pain the way she just did? Just hear the feelings and the need for even one time. Just even one. She's done it 3 sequences. I'd say half the people cannot remember a time in their life that they've gotten this much empathy, even when they didn't express it in a way that was so hard to give it to them. What they remember is their parents trying to give them the empathy by saying, here, have a sucker, maybe you'll feel better. Or you shouldn't feel that way, the other people meant well. But to get this kind of empathy, about half the people cannot recall one time they've gotten it, one message. And now this person, even though this person has been a real test for your ears, already 3 interchanges, and I think those 3 interchanges have already created a connection. We haven't solved anything yet, but these connections build the basis for which the solution can happen. But without this basis, forget any kind of resolution that will meet everybody's needs. Yes.
When the jackal was, or you said to the jackal, so you want respect, and then the jackal said, yes, I want respect. In that situation, it's really hard for me, at least, to like, I would be thinking, well, you want respect, well, you don't deserve it. And so it seems like you almost at that point have to just put all your thinking about the situation aside.
And if you can't, then or if you can't, you need to give yourself some empathy.
In order to just don't even get into the reality of the story, but just in order to keep kind of just playing with their needs and feelings.
And if you can't, then you need to give yourself some empathy. You need to stop and hear what's alive in you that's keeping you from hearing this person. And then...
But it just seems that you can't get into the story at all. You just have to keep just reminding yourself to just connect with the needs. And
generally, I would say in almost all of our interactions, going back into the story isn't going to meet anybody's needs. Talking about the past neither is going to heal or resolve.
I guess what I'm partly saying is when someone says, I want respect,
yes?
it's such a, on the one hand, I can see that you're saying it's just someone expressing their need.
Yes.
On the other hand, it's almost like inflammatory because it's in a way, or the way my ears hear it, is and you haven't been respectful.
It's implicit.
And
yeah.
so that's
But
how do you deal with that?
And even if they say, and then they start to tell me the story. Because you did this, yes, so your need for respect hasn't been met. It's still alive, you see. It's still really alive. So you still have this need for respect that's not been met. Yes. And so as a giraffe, I know that going into the past isn't going to solve that. So I have to help this person get clear now. What are they requesting of me at this moment in relationship to that unmet need for respect?
Two questions, though. One is if they're wanting respect, if they say, well, I want you to respect me right now.
Yes.
That may not be, given everything that's happened, that may not be an option.
Well, the problem is, see, respect is not a request. That's the unmet need. Then I have to help this person get clear. What is their present request of me to meet this need for respect that hasn't been met? See? And to get that from a jackal is not going to be easy, because jackals are not used to living in the present and being clear what they want now. They live in the past. They say, you didn't do this, and blah, blah. Yes, and so jackal, could you tell me what you're requesting of me right now in relationship to that? You had no right, you did this. Yeah, but jackal, hold it now. What are you wanting from me right now? See? It's an almost unanswerable question for most people, because they're not alive right now. They're living in the past. So we need to help bring them to the moment, to help them to get clear. The healing can take place right now. It can happen right now. It can't happen in the past.
Can I just follow with, I'd be very interested in seeing you do that after we finish this, because that's where I get stuck. And also, the thing about it is because when there's, because that's it's those kind of statements which I hear as inflammatory that pull me back into the jackal, because when they say, well, if they said, well, I need your respect, I need respect, then I somehow get confused that I'm at fault because that I did it to them.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm wondering, how do you separate that?
If you don't keep your attention on the present, what is alive in here right now? What is this person presently feeling and needing? And what are they wanting from me right now? If your attention isn't there, it will be very easy to hear criticism. And once you hear that, nobody's likely to get their need met.
But I guess what I'm saying is, are they criticized? You're saying the statement.
There is no such thing. There is no such thing as criticism. What we hear as criticism is a painful expression of please. Please, please, please. There is no criticism.
Even if they think they're being criticized? I mean,
there is no criticism. If you are a giraffe, there is no criticism. It does not exist. You are aware that what used to look like criticism when you wore jackal ears, you now see is a suicidal, tragic expression of an unmet need. That's all you hear. A need that's being expressed in a way that's going to be hard to get met by anyone who doesn't have giraffe ears on.
I'm wondering if you're confusing, what I get confused with is that if I hear someone say, I don't get respect, then it triggers my own need that hasn't been met. I mean, it just keeps
if you also have a need that is for respect that isn't met,
right,
it's going to be hard for you to hear the others because your pain is there.
Right. So I think that's where
And there'll be no problem as long as you see that. As long as you see, oh boy, this gets me in touch with my own pain.
Right. Well,
There's no problem as long as you're in touch with your pain and or the other person's pain.
Right.
No problem.
Well, my culture was being brought up with pacifist parents whose the needs of everybody else, all the starving children in India and the Vietnamese who were burning up and Africans who were dying and everybody else, their needs were more important. So I didn't have any needs either. So for me to be giving Susan her needs is what's, I think, triggers, and I just wondered if it was the same thing. It's what's triggering my inability to keep hearing her wants, her wants, her wants, her wants, her wants, her need, her need, her need. Yeah. And mine keeps getting obliterated again and again and again.
So we have to teach you, in addition to empathy, especially given your background that you say, probably before we need to teach you more empathy, we need to teach you how to scream in giraffe. To get your needs
Scream in
met.
giraffe.
Yes.
Oh, it's a new one. What's that like?
Screaming in giraffe
Screaming
is
in giraffe.
like this.
Sounds like fun.
This person says, I'm really feeling hurt and I have a need for some respect for, you know, what I did. And then screaming in giraffe is, right now I'm in too much pain to give you that because my need for respect hasn't been met. And here's what I want from you. I want you to acknowledge what I did to create a relationship with you. You like that?
I like that.
Yeah. Notice I didn't scream any criticism. I was screaming what was in my heart. I was screaming my present feelings, my present needs, and my present requests. That's screaming in giraffe. There's a lot of pain, and if you have jackal ears, you'll hear hostility.
Yeah.
If you have giraffe ears, you'll receive a great gift. You'll see the excruciating pain I'm feeling. If I'm talking, even if I'm talking to a jackal, that's less likely to provoke rage than other jackal statements. They may not be able to hear my screaming in giraffe, but I've been very amazed over the years that the more I scream in giraffe, even jackals can hear it sometimes. Because I'm really being vulnerable when I scream in giraffe. I'm really putting out my pain.
Mm.
And I've even been amazed at times how jackals have heard it. Yes?
What if the giraffe says, I need you to say you're sorry?
Okay. I empathize with that. First of all, most of the time people think they want an apology or vengeance. Their real need is for empathy for their suffering. I've yet to see a person who's gotten real empathy for their suffering that still wants an apology. But see, if after I've given them the empathy, if they say they want an apology, I know they don't want an apology, but they want the real stuff, which would be they want to hear whether I'm mourning or not. And if I am, I'll say that. I won't say I'm sorry. I'll say, I can tell you this, I feel very sad that I wasn't able to hear your pain before this. And I've yet to see anybody who gets that wants me to say, I hate myself, I was wrong.
What if the request is, I want you to promise that you'll never disrespect me again?
I am a giraffe. I cannot ever promise what I'll do in the future. I can only tell you what my present intentions are. And I don't think anybody who's honest can ever promise you more than that. I can only tell you what my present intentions are. I cannot tell you what I'll do 5 minutes from now.
You don't care enough to tell me that you're going to...
No, I'm not expecting the jackal to hear that right away. I'm giving you that if I'm really a giraffe, I know I cannot promise anybody anything about the future. All I can do is tell them what my present intention is. Yeah.
I was thinking about my aunt who's in a lot of pain and has a lot of stories, as a lot of us do. And I was trying to visualize trying to have this conversation with her, although there's nothing between the two of us, but
Yeah.
just in her pain. And I could just, I couldn't think of her being able to actually be in touch with her present feelings.
No,
or
so
her
what you
needs.
have to do is interrupt her in giraffe.
And you have to keep interrupting, is that it?
Oh, very often, because, see, I had an aunt that literally, this is serious, for over 30 years, she told the same story over and over again. Hey, cousin, there's my cousin. And that's because none of us knew how to interrupt in giraffe, you see. So what did we do? Of course, during the family parties, we would try to leave before she got there. If we were too late, we'd go and hide under the bed, you know, anything not to hear the story again, you know. The whole time she's telling the story, the family is sitting there like this, you know, looking at the watch, holding the watch to the ears. I mean, because for 30 years she had deep pain, and she needed empathy for the pain, and she didn't know that talking about what happened isn't going to get you the healing you need, and we family members didn't know how to interrupt in giraffe. Now, how would we have interrupted in giraffe when we had heard one word more than we wanted to hear? We would have said, "Excuse me, Auntie, are you feeling because you are needing?" See, nobody ever did that. I'm confident that had we done that, she would have gotten her needs met and not have to repeat this for 30 years. But she didn't know how to tell her present feelings. She thought that somehow by telling everybody the story, she'd get understood. Telling the story doesn't get us the understanding we need.
Well, I'm just wondering how a person like that,
Like us.
like us.
Yes.
Like me, you know, even if you're saying, okay, you know, Auntie, what are you feeling right now?
No, you don't ask that.
Oh,
You guess.
Are you feeling?
Yes.
So, and do you need?
Yes.
Okay, but she doesn't know her feeling, and she doesn't know her.
No, but that'll help her get to it faster than anything. But don't expect her right away to do it. So, Auntie, so you be the auntie for a moment. Let's hear the story.
I can't do the accent. I don't. Is this on? Maybe it's useful.
Hold it up close to your mouth.
Is this useful? Okay. I know my children love me because even though
Auntie,
they don't come to see me.
Excuse me, Auntie. Excuse me. Already I hear the feelings and the needs. I don't want to hear the rest. So, excuse me, Auntie. I'm hearing you feeling a lot of hurt, but you really need some reassurance that you're cared for.
No, I'm not feeling hurt. I just, you know, I think that your mother doesn't understand.
Excuse me, Auntie. Excuse me, but if you're not feeling hurt, I'd really like to know then what you are feeling. Angry, sad? I'd really like to connect with your feelings.
Well, I'm just feeling frustrated because every time your mother is always saying
So you're feeling
to me,
frustrated because your attempts to connect with people are not working and they're not getting the connection you would like.
No, I connect with people very well.
Yes.
I don't, why are you saying that to me? I have lots of friends.
Yes. Okay, but then excuse me, then if I haven't guessed your needs, then I'd like you to tell me what the needs are. So I only guess one time, you see, and then if the person's still, then I'll pull them by the ears to help me hear, then have them tell me. So I'll guess once to help them get clear, but if they don't, I'll keep pulling them by the ears so that what I'm interacting with them at is the level of present feelings and needs, not hearing the story. Okay?
Do you want to keep going? Because I could tell you this story.
And I will keep pulling you by the ears to get you back here to the present, telling me your present feelings and needs.
Because you don't want to hear my story?
No, because I want to connect with you. Because I want to connect with you, Annie, and I don't want to be like I've done in the past, which is tune you out and avoid you every chance I get. I really want to connect with you. But in order to do,
I feel very hurt that you're saying that, because
I feel more connected,
with
and
you.
I feel more connected with you now than you're telling me this, that you're hurt, than I have in the past when you tell me the story. So I really want to connect with what's alive in you, Auntie.
I really don't even understand what you're saying at all.
And I feel more connection when you say that than when you're telling me the story. At least we're here in the present, confronting each other. I feel more alive. I feel more connection.
We want to hear this story.
Yes. That's all she needs is people like you.
I'll go with
Then
him.
you go and listen to the damn story for 30 years. Yeah, don't call me. Yes.
I was going to ask if you can you do this with Auntie and be in reaction? Can you listen and speak in giraffe and still be having perhaps your anger and your frustration?
Didn't you see me expressing it there? I got irritated and you know.
You didn't seem to be reacting though. You were.
I said I'm frustrated. I don't want to go into the past, Andy. I want to stay right where we're at right now.
So even a giraffe can be feeling angry and.
Giraffes are not nice. Giraffes are not nice. Don't think that to be nonviolent requires you to be nice. Much of the violence in the world is created by nice people who sit back no matter what's going on. No. Giraffe doesn't require you to be nice. It requires you to either be expressing your pain or your joy or hearing the other person's pain or joy. But if you're not in joy, then you're in pain. You let it be known. But you scream in giraffe. You don't scream criticism. You scream feelings, needs, requests.
Okay, thank you.
Please speak into the mic. Thank you.
I know that the feeling I have is sort of rage and anger.
Rage and anger. Okay.
You're, I don't know, President Clinton or somebody in the government.
Let's see. Is that mic working, or do we have a better mic? Let's use the other one then. It's a little bit.
How's that?
Okay.
So I was saying you'd be, you'd be President Clinton or somebody from the government, and I'm me.
Wait a minute. I'm President Clinton.
So I read recently that the U.S. government sold $22 million in weapons to the Sri Lankan government.
Yes?
And I feel, am I doing jackal or giraffe or just whatever?
Well, you tell me. Do you want me to put giraffe ears on this jackal?
It's better than a jackal response, yes.
Okay, so all right. Now this jackal has giraffe ears. Say it whatever way you want. Because with these ears on, this person can hear nothing except giraffe.
First response I had was a sense of helplessness and rage and anger at the fact of the arms sale and at the timing of it, given that apparently Norway has been in there talking about mediation between the conflicting parties, and just at that time to go in and get involved by selling arms seems really destructive, and I feel so scared of what's already been going on for the last 20 years and what the scale will just go up through the roof with the amount of violence that these sophisticated weapons can do.
So let me see if I'm see now if this jackal politician has giraffe ears. He's going to interrupt her because he's under tremendous time pressure and she's way over the 40-word limit, not realizing that she's using precious time. But now if he's kind, he will interrupt her, but not to take the flow of communication away from her, but to help bring her to life quicker so that we can make most productive use of this time. See, so he interrupts, but notice he doesn't take the conversation away. It's to help her get more connected to life. So if I'm hearing you, I'm hearing that you suffer immensely because you know what goes on in that country and the amount that people have suffered. And you have some hopes about this Norwegian mediation. And you really would like to support that in the hopes that this might work. So then it is enormously painful to you when you see the amount of weapons that we're prepared to send over there right now. Have I heard what you're wanting to say to me?
Yeah, except there's a lot more energy to it.
You want me to really see just how much you're suffering from this, the rage,
it's just,
hurt?
it's so, it defies logic to me that...
Yes, it is so frightening to you that this could happen. How could anyone do that with an awareness of the history of the situation. And to think of what weapons might do over there when there's already so much suffering. It's just, it's an intense pain you feel.
When a lot of governments have refused to deal in arms with the Sri Lankan government because of its incredibly bad human rights
So
history, and
to give those weapons to a group of people who have shown such violence to people who are different, how it defies your understanding to imagine how I could have supported that.
Yeah. And of course, I'm just staying with this now because I'm being a good student. What I did in my head when I first found out was to go into the feeling a lot of anger and blame. It's like the richest country in the world does not need to make more money by selling arms.
Yes, and what's
really
scary for you is to be in a world where people might do that in order to meet needs of theirs for status, for financial security, financial gain, that people would choose to do that for those reasons at the cost of the suffering. It just is excruciatingly painful to you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want me to hear? Let me ask this. What is your present request of me now that I've heard that? This is very important if you are a giraffe. When we have limited time with somebody, if we don't have clear present requests, we're not likely to go out of that meeting with what we wanted. So she's lucky that this person has giraffe ears who's helping her get that. Because if she didn't make a clear present request, she's asking for this. Well, I thank you very much for coming in and letting your thoughts be understood, because it behooves us all as American citizens living in a country that fosters fosters free expression, that it is wonderful that you exercise your right, but you ask for it by not making a clear present request. So when you don't make a clear present request, get used to bureaucratic blah, blah, blah. But now, put on giraffe ears and make a clear present request. What are you wanting from my friend Bill here? Billy Jeff. Yep.
I guess. What I really want is for those arms not to go there.
Good. Now put that into a present request. Mr. Clinton, I'd like you to tell me what could be done to prevent that happening. See, that's a present request. But don't just say a general future request. I would like, Mr. Clinton, would you tell me what would need to happen for those arms not to be sent? If that's what you want. But make it a clear present request.
And
in fact, I would have recommended, if this was a limited time with the president, I would have suggested that you start with that. I learned this trick from a member of a street gang that I was with. We get close, and one day we were trying to get some money from a foundation for funding a school that we were trying to do together for kids that were kicked out of school or pushed out. And my friend said to me, we needed $55,000, you see. And he said, hey, B, the first time he heard my name is Marshall B. Rosenberg. That's pretty formal for him. So from that point on, all the gang members ever called me was B. They were impressed with the name, but it was too much, you know. So for the next 13 years when I traveled, hey, B, hey, B, don't you know the guy down there, that foundation that you were getting all that money to? Yeah, you mean the Danforth Foundation? Yeah, let's go down there and get some money. Yeah, don't I wish? Yeah, but I happen to know that the funding time is 2 weeks ago. You had to get the application in, and do you know what you have to do to get a proposal in there? You got all this. Yeah. I know that's what you're supposed to. Can you get the appointment? I said, yeah. Let's go down there. I didn't know what he had in mind, but anyway, I could get the appointment. I'd work with the Danforth Foundation. I was told by the secretary, Dr. Schwilk said he would see you, since I told him it was important. He can squeeze you in between appointments. We knew we had very limited time. So we go into the office, and I said, Dr. Schwilk, this is my colleague Al Chappell. Al Chappell, this is Dr. Gene Schwilk, president of the Danforth Foundation. He reaches across, shakes his hand, and says, "Where's the money?" see, right to a present request, you see? And I wanted to hit him. You know, oh my God, you know, what the hell is he doing, you know? Really, I was really irritated. And what money? The money for the fund school. What's the fund school? But now notice, we're using the precious time for this person to get the information he needs to decide whether he wants to give us what we want. See, precious time. But he's telling us what he needs to know. We walked out with $55,000.
I didn't make it clear from the beginning. I wanted to play him so that I could get in touch with what happened for me, because I don't imagine I'll actually have a chance to talk with him. So
I got you. So yeah. So if you ever do, though, I just want you to see. Start any meeting where you have a lot resting on it with limited time. Start by requesting of the other person that they ask you what they need to know to give you what you want. Got that? Start by asking them to ask you what they need to know to give you what you want. So I come into your office and I say, what do you need to know right now to choose to know whether you want to give us the money for our project? Okay. What do you need to know? Well, what project? See, but, okay, so you have to know what project. So I'm already asking you to get clear what you need to know to decide whether you want to give us what we want. I tell you what I want. I want money for this project. What do you need to know to decide whether you're going to give us that? I don't take precious time telling you all about the project. Maybe 90% of what I say isn't necessary. It's going to get in the way of the time. What do you need to know to decide whether you want to give us what we want? Okay, but let's go back to your request then. I guess I didn't understand. So you just wanted some empathy from old Bill. You didn't want to change. You didn't want to get these arms not sent.
I want to learn to have empathy for him, and I don't.
You want to have empathy for him?
Yeah.
Oh well, then let's give you the giraffe ears.
Well, I'm not ready for them yet.
Oh, I see. What do you need before you can hear poor Bill? Because I don't know of anybody that needs more empathy in a situation than that than poor Bill.
I want more help to get in touch with what's going on, because I can only access the rage and the fear. I can get to the fear, but
then we'll put the giraffe ears back on Bill. Okay. So tell Bill what more you need him to connect with.
Well, okay, I'll be honest. What's going through my head is things like, how can a group of people or a nation of people be able to sleep at night, given that they profit from suffering that gets caused either by making weapons or selling weapons, and our economy is so based on it. And
so what's exasperatingly painful for you is not knowing what could go on in people who would benefit at other people's suffering. What could be going on in us? Not knowing that, it's just excruciatingly painful for you to think that you're living in a world where that could happen.
I don't know, I feel really hopeless when I think about people with resources spending their time and energy making and selling weapons.
And all the energy that goes into the making of the weapons and the selling of them, the profits, what would keep those people from being aware of the suffering that's going to be created by that? Why wouldn't they use that same energy to serve life? This is dumbfounding to you, painful to you.
Yeah, I don't know how to have hope when there's so many smart people devoting so many hours.
People with intelligence, education, resources. How we could do that. How we could do that. We know what's going on over there. How we could do that.
I guess I'm ready to try empathizing.
Bill, how do you feel when you hear what she say? We've got 10 minutes to express all of that. Do your best, Bill. I could call him Bill. I used to live in Texas. It's enormously painful to me when I hear what you say. Enormously painful. Because I would like to contribute to what you want, which is really peace in that region. And I'm aware that there are these groups, rebel groups, that have been causing great pain to citizens. And I would like to bring order into your country. And one way that we can think of to do this is to say to your government that we'll give them the weapons to control these violent minorities if they will promise us to change human rights practices in the country. That we will give them all kinds of economic aid if they will promise to do that. And I'm putting my hopes that that will be even more effective than what I'm predicting the Norwegians could do. And what's deeply painful to me, is that you may be right, and that what I've chosen to do might actually contribute to more violence in that area. So I've made a choice based on that I have the same needs that you do. And it's very scary to me that I may have made a choice that I can only tell you I think I was acting in the service of the same needs that you were. There's some others, yes. It's complicated. There's other political pressures I'm under, but I can tell you sincerely that I acted with the same intent that you want, which is how can we stop the violence in that region? And I'd like to know how you feel when I tell you this.
I can only remind myself that a human, I don't believe you.
Yes. And I have no trouble understanding why you would have trouble believing me, because I said there's a lot of other stuff going on too that I must admit is making it hard for me to make this choice. I'm under all kinds of pressures from manufacturers in the United States, deals that they will make with me to contribute to my needs to make this a safer place if I agree to things that will make for better life for them economically. And I get so lost in the maze of this myself that I don't have any trouble understanding why you might have trouble trusting my intent. But I can only tell you that with all of my heart, I want to contribute to peace in that area. I hope you can hear that I'm in like a whirlwind of pressures. And it's very hard for me to really get clear what is the best way to meet my needs. And I suffer immensely to think that I may be making choices that contribute to enormous violence. How do you feel when I tell you that?
I'm having a hard time getting beyond the distrust. I believe all the feelings and all the confusion, all of those. I don't believe that this my need and yours is the same in this.
You don't believe that I would like to contribute to safety in that region?
I think if you thought about it, you might, but I don't think
You're afraid that I get so caught up in these other things that I lose that?
I think that's not in the picture for you.
That scares me too. That scares me too. I get in such a whirlwind that I think it's hard for any other citizen in the world to understand on any given day. The whirlwind of pressures that I'm under. And I am afraid that what you're saying is true, that I lose connection. I wish I had someone daily to talk to me like you're talking with me now. It would help me stay connected. I have a lot of people to talk to every day, but it's not at this level. And I'm enough of a student of history to know how institutions can make Nazis out of us all, even people with good hearts like I think I have. And that scares me, to be the chief Nazi in that syndrome. Beyond what I can say in words, how scared I am of that. And I think you've guessed the big fear I have, that I'll get lost. I'll lose connection with my basic needs. So I would like to hear from the rest of the group. I made myself very vulnerable as a public politician just now to reveal that much of myself in public, so I feel very vulnerable. I'd like to know how you're all feeling about what I said. Yes?
Well, I'm feeling a lot of compassion for the president, because I was thinking about all the people that are talking to him every day that aren't talking to him on that level, and the whirlwind that you talked about. It's just like when we drop beneath what appears on the surface to be whatever we're attributing motivation, or doesn't jive with our ideas about how things are supposed to be in any given situation, and then hear the suffering, and to think about. I've thought of that sometimes because I come from a leftist background. Not there very much anymore, just because of the suffering that I saw and experienced, but within the left. forget what where I was going with that, but it's something to do with the judgments that we make of other people. And I guess what I was going to say is, at some points thinking about, well, if I were, I have friends say, if I were president, or if we were the president, I just think, wow, what a place to be. So I thought you gave voice to it that sounded sincere, even if we might not agree with what your actions are. So I felt a lot of compassion for you as president.
It does raise the issue about, though, when you're in a system, whether it be a family system or a global system, where the paradigm isn't shared by other people, and to what extent can you not be, in their eyes, a wimp and jeopardize your sort of small security or a global security? In other words, people aren't playing by the same rules. So
you're saying in the role of the president here,
yeah,
how do you keep your humanness within a complicated system where, see, Walter Wink says something that's really helped me. He, in his book, The Powers That Be, he points out that institutions have their own spirituality. So how do you connect with human beings when you're working within an institution that has a spirituality that makes violence enjoyable?
Or if not enjoyable, necessary in their eyes.
Pardon?
If not enjoyable, necessary in their eyes.
Well, that's how you make it enjoyable, to believe that it's necessary and you're protecting the free world and so forth. They won't say enjoyable, they'll say necessary, but it's enjoyable.
Okay.
Yes, how do you keep your humanness in that kind of institution, which is what we all need to learn to do. It's critical. And then we need to know how to transform those systems so that the systems have a spirituality that supports life rather than greed.
Right.
Yeah.
What I saw. Well, that was the empathy. What was the answer?
The answer?
Yeah.
The answer is you and me need to, first of all, know how to create that world that we want within ourselves, while at the same time creating what Gramsci calls prefigurative relationships, that is, relationships that model the larger governmental pictures we would like to see in our families and in our workplaces that we can control, and at the same time transforming these bigger structures by gathering up other people who share our vision and transforming these structures. You and me are going to do it. Yeah.
What I saw was the opportunity that you, the president with giraffe ears, gave her by stressing your commonality.
Mm-hmm.
That you needed someone like her every day in conversation.
Oh, yes.
That was important. That was an important point. And I can understand why she didn't pick it up, because if this were a real life situation, the giraffe ears would be invisible and the words might be the same if you were just trying to put her off. So it does get complicated.
Yes, I played that role with giraffe ears on it. It could have been a lot more difficult. I think the same feelings would have been going on, but without the giraffe ears, it would have been a lot different. It would have been, yes, I see your point, and I think it's well taken. And I'd like you to know that we have many people looking into this situation. So thank you for coming in. Next. No, it could have been a lot harder if he hadn't had the ears on. Yeah.
I mean, you asked how he responded to that, and I guess I responded thinking that, I mean, the difference, I don't know why you played it that way exactly, or why
we would believe that that's necessarily true. In other words, I think that it's as likely, one's as likely to get that first response from the president as the second, because after all, the first one would have been more effective in accomplishing the goal of connecting with the person without having to change anything or without having to really be sincere about those things.
I'm not sure what you're saying, can you?
I guess I didn't find, I didn't find myself convinced by the genuine.
You weren't sure that even the first one was telling honestly what was going on.
I mean, it could have been true, but
You
I
don't know.
doubt
You're
it.
not. You have a lot of distrust of it.
Yes.
I have trust that it was true, and I have trust that even the people that are doing most of the violence of the world have the same needs that you and I do. I've talked to them. I've talked to many of them, and I'm sure that they, I have no doubt that at the need level, we have the same needs.
Well, I agree.
I've talked to soldiers who are cutting off arms of children, and we have the same needs. I'm convinced of that. But they're caught up in systems where I think it's pretty hard for them to stay connected to those needs. There's a whole lot of other competing things going on in them.
Well, I'm convinced that they have the same needs, but I'm not convinced that they're troubled.
You're not convinced that they're troubled? I would agree with you that unless they have a friend like this, they're not going to get in touch with that pain. There's enough to keep them spinning that they're not in touch with that pain. Yeah, that I can understand, that they're far from it. It would take a lot. In the interest of time, I shortened this, but it would take a lot to bring them down to that level, yeah.
I just wanted to say to that I heard Helen Caldicott say that she spent some 20 minutes listening to a guy in Los Alamos. She just decided to listen to him, and he started out by saying all this stuff about this is so wonderful what we're doing here, and power and energy and all of that, and within 20 minutes he was telling her about waking up at 4 a.m. in cold sweat, about, you know, what am I doing? So it doesn't, apparently it doesn't take much sometimes to bring it out. It's just very hard to listen to it well enough to let it come out.
I am very grateful to you for suffering as much as you are about this. And I know you're going there soon, and I wish you the best. Where the hell does the energy come to care for humanity when it's more than I can cope with? Taking care of me. My government sells weapons when peace is what we need, and our compassionate nature is hidden beneath our greed. I see people on the streets not getting enough, but how can I help them when making it myself is tough? Where the hell does the energy come to care for humanity when it's more than I can cope with, taking care of me? Our prisons are a disgrace, our mental hospitals too, but burying my head in the sand is the easiest thing to do. I get sicker every day from all the oppression I see, but worrying about losing what I've got makes a coward out of me. Where the hell does the energy come to care for humanity when it's more than I can cope with, just taking care of me? written in my civil rights days of 1970. I'm a lot more optimistic now. Lots different now. Lots different now. Now I'm much more aware of the enormity of power that we have when we band together with other giraffes. And, I see how even an idiot like me can create a mess all over the world. It's just it's very encouraging. Anything else before we stop for the day? See you tomorrow.